So if I have a tendency today to go further than 9:10, please warn me when it's 9 o'clock because I have to finish that. I have another class and I'm, harming your learning because I extend too much in the morphosyntax class. Well, let's go. Uh, we were discussing some suffixes in the previous exercise, that one with the text. And we were telling whether they were inflectional or derivative, and also telling what kind of derivational suffix it was. So we are still in exercise number 2, talking about suffixes, but now we have a relatively more difficult task, which is to say what the suffix means. Well, this is very subjective, okay, because each of you will have a way to describe the meaning of a suffix. So what I'm going to say here, what I'm going to do with you here is like open a discussion, but maybe your solutions will be close to mine, but not exactly the same, and it's no problem, right? So we are going to focus on what is highlighted here in boldface type. For instance, spectator. Well, if we look for similar words as a spectator, we have words like actor, what else?
Creator.
Doctor.
Doctor, creator, and so on. Also, those ending in ER, which is an allomorph of OR, like teacher, performer, singer, and so on. Now, what does this or mean here? Spectator is what? In relation to spectat, which is the root, what is a spectator?
Is the one
Aquele
who
que.
spectates. Yeah.
The one that does or makes something. Oh, when I say X, I mean the root, okay? It's like a mathematical formula, okay? So if I have an X or, it's the one that makes X, X being a verb, like the one that spectates, the one that acts, the one that performs, the one that drives, okay? Remember, or and are allomorphs, okay? Are you convinced of that? Did you solve it in a different way? Do I have different answers for these? I mean, very different, or everybody got close to it?
Eu botei em português, aquele que.
That's perfect. Okay, that's perfect. That's okay. Important, which is important for me, is that you know what kind of meaning is provided by the suffix. Okay, if it's in English or in Portuguese, well, preferably in English in an exam. But even so, I would consider it correct if it were in Portuguese. Okay. Now let's discuss the meaning of phobia. Can you think of other words similar to phobia? Ending in IA.
I can think in words derivated like homophobia.
Yeah, we have those that derive and they are words that derive from a prefix like homophobia, claustrophobia, and so on. But let's try to expand. Let's try to get out of this notion of phobia and let's go to other words such as paranoia. Do you know other words ending in IA? Dystopia. What else? Now, what do phobia, paranoia, and dystopia have in common? What is a dystopia?
I don't know about I don't know what is dystopia, but both paranoia and phobia are something related to yourself, to some feeling you have. I can
Feelings. Yeah,
then,
feelings.
yeah.
Good. Let's search for the meaning of dystopia. Well, I'll read for you. Dystopia is a very bad or unfair society in which there is a lot of suffering, especially an imaginary society in the future after something terrible has happened. A description of such a society. Examples. The film is set in 2700 on an uninhabitable Earth, a dystopia covered in towers of garbage. Or another example, most of the novels are dystopias in the tradition of Brave New World. Now, dystopia means this kind of feeling about a society or a situation which is somehow imaginary. Now, imaginary has to do with feelings, right? So a phobia is a feeling of what?
Of an exaggerated fear.
Yeah, it's a feeling of fear. Yeah, a phobia is a feeling of fear. Now, what is a dystopia? It's a feeling of what? Maybe a feeling of disenchantment or a feeling of anger about society. Now, I mentioned another word, paranoia. What is paranoia? Feeling of what? Someone that is a paranoid. How does he or she act?
I think he thinks on real situations.
Yeah, it's a break with reality. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a feeling of a parallel reality. So can I say ia, ia here? This suffix means a feeling of.
Yes, that's what I put here. The feeling of an exaggerated fear.
Some people would say a mental disorder. Could be, yeah, according to medical discourse. This is a kind of mental disease, a mental disorder. Yeah. Now let's go to number 3, asteroid. Well, aster, the root aster, gives you the notion of what? Let's check the
I
dictionary
think
if we
like
have
star,
similar words. Sorry? Again?
star,
Stars. Let's see. Aster. If we type aster, we have asterism, which is a beta word in my dictionary, which means it's a neologism. And we have astern. We have aster as a word. Let's see if it works. It's a kind of flower, so it does not work. It's just a coincidence. But aster, sorry, just a moment. Aster, asterism is not in the in the dictionary, but there are some applications. The asterism's appearance signified the coming of the rainy season and increased on the staple many nothing to do. But astro, because this is a kind of change in the word astro, means star, space. Now, what does oid mean? Our focus is on the suffix. Do you know other words that end in oid? Do you remember your geometry classes? A curve called senoid. Don't you?
No.
No.
Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you. Don't worry. This is a senoid. I'll open it in a new window.
Alkaloid is not a word too.
Alkaloid. Yes.
Alkaloid.
Where did you hear about alkaloids?
I was searching for oid here.
Okay, let me share the guide with you here, the Chrome guide. Uh, Not this one. Just a moment here. Well, this is a senoid, okay? It's a kind of curve. So it resembles a sine, a kind of, remember sine, cosine, when you're calculating geometric measurements, okay? So let's go for alkaloid. Good idea. Let me just share the exercise again. Let's search the meaning of alkaloid. Alkaloid.
I thought first that this oid would be a type of, because asteroid is a type of rock coming from stars.
Very good.
So
Very good.
I put that in my exercise, but I don't know if
Now
it's correct.
let's check
I
the
thought the
meaning of
same.
let's check how the dictionary approaches the meaning of alkaloid. A type of chemical found in plants that often acts as a drug or poison or is used in medicines. Nicotine is an alkaloid. Cocaine is an alkaloid. Everything that ends in "-ane" or "-ine" is an alkaloid. I know that because my brother is a biochemist and I had to translate lots of texts about alkaloids for him. So I got impressed that you knew about alkaloids. Yes, oid means a type of. For instance, what is an android? You know that in Greek, andros mean. What is the meaning of andros?
Androgynous? I
Well,
cannot.
androgynous. Marilyn Manson is an androgynous guy. What does androgynous mean? Or andro? What is andro? Consider the symbol of android. What is the symbol of android?
Andrew, I know there's something about the appearance of a human. It's like it's someone or something that appears to be a human being, but is
Okay,
not.
so something that appears to be or that looks like, or as you said, a type of. Android, if you look at the logo of the Android devices, you see a robot. But is that robot more of a kind of machine or looking like a man with a head, arms, and legs? It looks like a human, yeah? So oid is what looks like. Okay, what oid resembles us of something, or for example, a humanoid, or um, I, I don't know. There are not many words with oid that I can recall. Can you recall others? Alkaloid, they have some similarity in their molecules, for example, that looks like alcohol, the
Just a
aromatic
question,
ring.
cause I
Sorry?
just a question, cause I lost my connection. An asteroid
Okay.
is it what appears or looks like a star, right? A star.
Yeah, something that is related to, in this case, related to a star, related to an astrophysical body, you know? something that comes from space that uh, it's a type of space rock. Yeah, that's why we call it asteroid, because it's related to, or because it looks like, or it appears to be. The android appears to be a man. The asteroid appears to come from space. In fact, we know that it comes from space. Okay, it looks like an astrophysical body. Okay, this is very open class exercise. Okay, you can find different answers, but they are all close to each other. Any questions about oid? So oid is what is, or what makes you establish a relation with what comes before, what comes as a root. Okay, asteroid is related to the space, to astros. Okay, now canine. No, sorry. We have to go to number 4. Number 4 has gone down. Number 4, solarium, ending in arium. Do you know other words?
I remember.
Aquarium.
Aquarium. What is an aquarium? You can easily split that into aqua or aqua, yeah, and arium. What is an aquarium?
I actually um, put a space off, or let me see, or eu botei em português em que ou espaço de, porque Arium eu me lembrei da palavra atrium do latim, que
Very good.
é um terraço, uma praça, é mais ou menos assim, é tipo um espaço fora da casa.
Place, a space. A space of or with X, which means a place of, or a space with the root. In this case, sun. Yeah, solarium is a place with sun. An aquarium is a space, a place with water, full of water. An antiquarian is a place with old objects. Yeah, with antiquity. I don't know how to pronounce that. Antiguidades. Okay. Can you think of other words ending in arian? Don't you? Let me see. Find something. Aquarium. Valium. We have Valium. It's a brand name for a drug. No, it does not work. Anyway, it's not a very common suffix. It's a Latin suffix. Okay, as Quernstein said. So knowing the Latin word helped her to determine that solarium is a place full of sun. Any questions about this? Now let's go to cis, as in prognosis. Do you know other words that end in this cis? Well, we have diagnosis. What else? When you have clues about an event or a fact, you can build a hypothesis. Now, what do diagnosis, prognosis, hypothesis have in common? Can you think of other
They've
words
been,
ending in cis? Yes,
I
sorry.
think they've been no. For them to be done, there had to be an investigation, something like that.
Something that is
Don't know.
preceded by an investigation. Normally, an
Yeah.
investigation comes to if you have a successful investigation,
A
you have to
conclusion.
a conclusion. Yeah. Well, a prognosis is a conclusion that you take before, isn't it? You have a prognosis. Yeah. A diagnosis is a conclusion that you have after some investigation. A hypothesis. A hypothesis is not really a conclusion, but it's the conclusion you want to confirm, isn't it? You have a hypothesis, so you create a thesis and you try to prove your hypothesis. Yeah. So it's a kind of conclusive idea or, you know, conclusive idea or a conclusion or clue. Yeah. Let's go to number 6. Canine. This is easy. Other words ending in ein.
Masculine, feminine.
Masculine, which is pronounced differently, but the suffix is the same. Now, what does masculine and canine mean? Masculine
The
belongs to a
characteristic
certain
of
gender.
being male.
The
Yeah,
characteristic of
canine
being male, and canine, the characteristic of being
being
canis.
related to dog. Yeah.
Yeah, related to dogs. Related to, in this case, related to canis gender, or feline, related to phallics. Yeah, and so on. Can you think of other words ending in ein? Besides masculine, feminine, we also have genuine. Something that is genuine is what? Genuine is like, let me just find the space here to write. It's like gene plus ein. What is the meaning of gene? Genesis. You change the E, you change the filler for you, and then you have genuine. So what is something that is genuine?
Aquilo que é de acordo com a sua essência. Eu não consegui
Yes,
traduzir isso em inglês.
yes, it's according to its genesis. It's according to its origin. Okay, it's in conformity with the origin. This is easy. Ism. What is an ism? Like in communism, positivism, socialism, Darwinism.
Ideology?
Yes, but not only. It could be an ideology. Let's try to expand this to serve more generic
A
purposes.
way of thinking.
A way of thinking. Uh, yeah, some people, for instance, especially those religious ones that want to demonize some kind of ideology, they call it an ism. Like we have a debate in society right now if we should talk about homosexualism or homosexuality. And what is the problem? That those who are homosexual say they shouldn't be called homosexualists or call it homosexualism. It's because ism gives the idea that it's a kind of disorder or a kind of deviation, okay? But it's for sure a group. Uh, the way of behaving, the way a group thinks or behaves. An ideology could be, but could be also a set of behavior. Okay, let me see the chat. Just a moment. Somebody said something in the chat. Way of thinking of a group. Yeah, could be. Or thinking according to someone. For example, Marxism is like sticking to the way that Marx used to think, or Darwinism is sticking to Darwin's ideas. Okay. Now, the final Y in number 8, antipathy, sympathy, or can you think of other words ending in Y? Philosophy. This Y means what?
History.
History. But not only. Yes, the word history. Okay, history. What does what is the meaning of this Y? As in
It goes
antipathy?
to turn the noun in an adjective. So I think antipathy. No, no, no. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
never
you are
mind.
right. It's a derivation of noun forming suffix. But what is the
Yes.
meaning of this Y? You gave me a very important clue. It derives into a noun, so it's a derivation of
Yeah.
noun forming suffix.
Yeah.
And what?
So you it's the characteristic of being antipathic, but this word does not exist of not being sympathetic. That
Yeah, but in morphology we can say like that. It's the it's the property of being the root. You know, it's the property of having the qualities described by the root. So, antipathy is like uh, someone that feels like X. But in fact, it's not someone. It's the feeling of X.
Morphology also ends with Y.
Just a moment. Sorry,
Morphology also
uh,
ends with
I'll discuss
I.
that. The feeling of X. So antipath, the feeling of antipathy. It's strange, I know, okay, but we are not dealing with real words. We are dealing with their intuitive meaning. Morphology ends in Y, but this Y belongs to the second part of the word logi, which means the knowledge of something or the logics behind something. So morphology, morphos, form, logi, the study of. Okay, so it's kind of different. Although it ends in Y, this Y is not isolated. It's part of the suffix, if we can say that a suffix. In fact, it's a compound word, morphos plus logi. So we have two well-formed words put together. Morphology, the study of form.
What about priority?
Priority. Well, prior means the first. What do you conclude about priority? Is the suffix really Y or IT? Like inferiority, superiority, or ET? Some other words ending in ET, ITY. Can you recall them? Let's take the case of priority. Priority. So our discussion is this the suffix or is this one the suffix? Let's understand like this. Prior. Prior means the first. Okay. And ET means being the first, as inferiority means being inferior, and minority means being minor. Do you get? Do you agree with me that the suffix is not y, but et?
Yes,
Yes, I
I
Yes.
do.
kind of I found another thing.
Yeah,
He is also a derivational adjective.
perfect. It's another way to say the focus of the exercise is to gloss the suffix. But when you say it's a derivational adjective forming suffix, you are perfect. You just have to tell me what this adjective mean.
Uh,
Mhm.
sunny,
Like sunny or
moony.
cloudy.
Yes, that I remember that there was with the I guess it's climb the word, and there is also should be healthy, healthy.
Healthy, somebody that is full of health, someone that has health. That's okay. That's perfect. Okay. So sometimes in the case of antipathy, it is a derivational noun-forming suffix. Okay. In the case of healthy, it's an adjective. It's a derivational adjective forming suffix. So it will not always derive nouns and it will not always derive adjectives. Sometimes it will derive one word class and sometimes the other. But this final Y always makes us recall the feeling of or the property of. Let's change feeling for property. And then we have a more generic property of X. Okay. And now it works for both adjectives and nouns. Okay. Any questions, class?
No.
Okay. Can we go to 9? Let me check how do I pronounce this. I think it's erudite, but I'm not sure. Let me copy that and put it in the dictionary. Erudite. Erudite. The English pronunciation is tricky sometimes. Erudite. What does "ite" mean? Do you think it's the same as in unite? In unite, to unite is a verb, so it's a derivational verb forming suffix. Is it the same as in erudite or just a coincidence? What word class is erudite? Erudite music.
An adjective.
It's an adjective, yeah. So it seems to be a coincidence. Now think of other adjectives that end in "ite." There are not many, yeah? Let me see. We have, for example, impolite or indomite. What does "ite" mean? Maybe if you try to derive this piece here, what other words do you have? Erudition. It's hard, yeah? There are not many derivations. We have erudite and erudition. What does it mean, erud? Em português. O que é erudito? O que é algo erudito? O que é esse radical erude? Diz a vocês. Não, gente. Vocês sabem,
Culto,
então, com
dotado de
vergonha?
cultura.
Isso, culto naquele conceito, né, que a gente estudou lá em língua, cultura e identidade, aquele conceito bem elitista de cultura, né? E seria algo não corriqueiro, algo especial, incomum, né? Seletivo, né? Esse ait, que é muito semelhante ao nosso ito, né? Erudito, a gente também não tem muito sufixo ito em português. So, it means like
It
what
feels like someone or something who is.
being of, being part of, being part of culture, being part of erudition, or could be like the property of erudition, isn't it? The property of the quality of erudite is an adjective. So it, if it's a derivation or adjective forming suffix, it means the property of. Let's see if it works with other words and then in it, as in impolite or polite. Polite, is it the property of being Polish? Someone that is polite, the property of politeness could be like this. If you have the property of politeness, you are polite. If you have the property of, it's similar to eat as description. If you have description, you are discreet. Yeah. So eat is an allomorph. We do not have many ites. Uh, Somebody raised the hand or would like to say
Yeah, yeah,
something?
yeah, yeah. I put here the characteristic of being. Is it the same? The
Perfect.
property? Okay.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes. If you have that property, you have the same characteristic, feature, or whatever. Now, unity. Let's work with unity. What other words do you know that end in et? Come on, don't you
Opportunity.
opportunity? What else?
University.
Ubiquity. Is anyone here? Does anyone here? I don't know. Let me speak in Português. Alguém aqui já trabalhou com aquelas antenas de Wi-Fi de longo alcance? Ou vamos trabalhar
Não.
com o conceito em latim, né? Eu pesquisei muito sobre isso, porque quando não tinha internet aqui, eu queria até montar uma central aqui em casa. Ubiquity é uma marca dessas antenas. A gente tem que ir lá no latim. O que é a ubiquidade? Pesquisem para mim. Ubiquidade. Eu pesquiso, tá? Eu mesmo pesquiso. Eu falo pesquisem para mim, mas eu acabo dando mole para vocês. Ubiquidade. Que também tem em inglês ubiquity. Já sai o nome da fábrica aqui, tá? Das antenas. Onipresença. Ubiquidade. É uma forma chique de falar onipresença, né? O que esse it remete? The property of being ubiquitous. Unity, the property of being unique or of being only one. And how about the other words that you mentioned? You mentioned something. What were the
For
words?
unity was the characteristic of being united, not exactly unique.
Yeah, not being unique. Yes, you were right. Being
Oh,
united.
being united.
Yeah, our
United, yeah.
unity as a country. Yes, you are perfect. You are right. Our property as a country is being united, so we are a unity. Uh, equality. What is equality? Isn't it the property of being equal? Yeah.
There is community too.
Community, the property of being common. Yeah. The property of having a common of having common interests, common languages, common culture. So it's the property of. Just like the one above. Which means if the morpheme has the same meaning, it and it are different morphemes or the same morphemes?
Maybe a allomorph.
That's it. So they are the same morpheme represented by different morphs. They are allomorphs. Perfect.
And teacher, what about university?
University, it's like the property of, well, of being a universe. What is the concept of a university? To be a university, you have to fulfill some requisites, like having courses in the three areas, like the hard sciences, the human sciences, and medical sciences. So it's the property of being universal. I mean, by universal, being abrangent.
Eu não vou conseguir falar em inglês esse
Okay,
conceito de universidade, né?
okay.
Mas eu vejo que seria como se você se expandisse para o universo específico. Como assim? Eu estou aqui no universo das letras, então eu tenho uma percepção mais aprofundada desse universo, que eu só tive acesso a uma pequena parte na escola. Mesma
Uhum.
coisa a medicina. Eu tenho conhecimento agora universal, que em tese é universal, né? Todo mundo tem esse conhecimento que estuda essa área e eu vou ter acesso a esse universo voltado para determinada área. Então, talvez seja isso que seja
Na verdade é isso
universidade.
também, né? Mas o conceito de universidade, o que distingue nós, por exemplo, da Pitágoras, né, que é uma faculdade, é a quantidade de cursos que a gente tem nas diversas áreas, né, das ciências, que a gente chama ciências exatas, humanas e biológicas, né? Então, para ser universidade, você tem que ter as três áreas e você tem que ter um determinado número de cursos que dê conta de um saber universal, né? E a universidade ela é chamada assim justamente porque você vai conviver não apenas no seu campo do saber, né? Mas você tem a possibilidade, vocês todos devem ter disciplinas eletivas para fazer, né? Então vocês vão entrar em contato com um saber mais universalizado. Vocês podem fazer disciplinas de outros cursos, ou ter contatos, ter colegas de outras áreas que vai universalizar o conhecimento de vocês. É nesse sentido que chama universidade. É
E
por isso.
fica até melhor de absorver determinados conteúdos, porque tem muitas áreas que não são voltadas só para um curso. Né?
Hum.
Por exemplo, latim,
Uhum.
tinha gente que era de biologia, tinha gente de história,
Uhum.
várias outras áreas que podiam agregar para o curso que a gente está fazendo, né? Então,
Vocês não viram o físico frustrado aqui tentando descrever as palavras da morfossintaxe com fórmula de X? É isso, né? Para alguma coisa aquela porcaria de cálculo 1 e geometria analítica tinha que me servir. Nem fala, gente, eu tenho trauma. E pior que assim, eu falei, nunca mais vou trabalhar com negócio de derivada, de integral, né? Porque são os dois conceitos do cálculo 1. Aí eu tô aqui ensinando o quê? Derivação de palavras, mas é
poxa,
derivação.
professor.
Nunca diga nunca, né? Nunca diga nunca. E eu fui para análise do discurso pensando, agora eu escapei da linguística formal. Sei. Um dia olharam para mim e falaram, meu filho, você fez concurso para dar aula no curso de letras. Não tem essa, não vai dar aula de análise do discurso só. Mas agora eu já gosto, sabe? Okay, let's go for bronchitis or bronchitis, if you prefer the British pronunciation. What does itis mean? Can you think of other words ending in itis? This is part of the medical area. When you have a bronchitis, You have a health problem where?
The bronchial tubes, yeah.
Yeah, basically in your lungs, your bronchus. What's wrong with your bronchus when you have bronchitis?
I think there's an inflammation.
An inflammation. Yeah. So when you have hepatitis, it's an inflammation in your figadation. No, não é figadation. In your liver. Yeah. Hepatitis. Uh, if you have art arthritis, I think it's pronounced arthritis, not itis. Let me check that. Oh my God, how do you spell that? I think it's with a T8, arthritis. Arthritis or arthritis, I don't know. Arthritis, it's itis again. If you have arthritis, you have an inflammation. Where? Ninguém aqui sofre de artrite não, né, gente? Ainda não. Depois dos 40 vocês vão ver uma coisa. O que é artrite? Quem tem o vô, avó,
Nas juntas. Nas juntas
problema de junta, né?
juntar tudo e jogar fora.
É, o famoso problema de junta. É, eu tenho. Eu literalmente vivo com dor de cotovelo. Né? So, it means an inflammation. In a specific part of your body. If it's in the bronchus, bronchitis. If it's in the arterioles, arthritis. If it's, I don't know, in your lungs, sorry, if it's in your liver, hepatitis, and so on. Any questions about this?
No.
How about pubescent? Well, pubis, everybody knows what it means. What is a pubescent? It's the same as an adolescent. What does essent mean? Adolescents are humans in their fluorescent state. Olha só que poético, né? They are flourishing. They are blooming. What is the meaning of fluorescent? Do not make confusion with fluorescent, which is the lamp. What does essent mean?
It's kind of an ability to glow.
A process of
There is a band called Evanescence. Evanescence. Oh no, it's Evanescence, but there's also
Oh,
the
they are
word
evanescent.
Evanescence. Yes.
Yeah, it's the process of becoming. The process of becoming fluorescent. It's the process of becoming a flower. We have this essence, which is a similar suffix, like banana is not a fruit, it's an infructescence. Did you know that? So it's a similar to a fruit. It's a group of small fruits that get together, like the berries. Strawberries and infructescence and so on. Cashew. Cashew is not a fruit, believe me. The fruit is the nut. The cashew, what you use to make the juice is an infructescence. So, o caju não é fruta.
Ah, caju. Ah,
de
cachu. Aí eu não...
But yeah, but they pronounce it cashew. In English, it's cashew. And did you know what? Did you know that cashew is not Brazilian? It's not native here. Where does it come from? It's not processo, it's process. I'm sorry. Where does it come from? Do you know? There are some fruits that I don't even know the name in English, like jaca, the coconut. The coconut's not Brazilian. Who brought the coconut from Brazil? To Brazil. Os europeus, gente, eles eram tão... Assim, eu estava discutindo isso, né? História da Europa colonial. Eles eram tão lascados, coitados, eles tinham tão pouco recurso para comida, né? Nos períodos das pestes e tal, que eles viajavam, as grandes navegações, eles traziam muito coco. De onde? Eles traziam coco na embarcação, porque não sei se vocês sabem, a água de coco é alimento completo, né? A água e a castanha juntos, eles formam uma alimentação completa. Alguém falou alguma coisa? Ah, I was wondering you were talking about Pikachu. Não, gente, deixa o Pokémon fora disso. Então, o coco é da Índia. Vocês sabiam disso? Que não é nativo brasileiro?
No, I didn't.
No.
Eles traziam nas caravelas, né? E jogavam no mar. Bebiam a água, né? E jogavam no mar, né? E alguns cocos saíam, enfim, caíam no oceano inteiros ainda e chegaram às praias, né? E se espalharam. Então a gente tem como se fosse algo nativo da gente, mas antes das grandes navegações não tinha coco na América. Não tinha coco, não tinha jaca. É parte da biopirataria que aconteceu. Eu diria que uma biopirataria do bem, porque eu adoro coco, né? Mas foi quando não tinha essa regulação toda, né? Por exemplo, a gente tem plantas na Caatinga. Quando meu irmão fazia o doutorado dele, o mestrado dele no México, ele tentou levar, mas não conseguia, porque é considerado biopirataria. Ele queria levar para estudar em laboratório esses alcaloides, né? De uma planta que tem no Ceará, na Caatinga, chamada velame. Ele queria ver as propriedades alucinógenas do velame. Não me pergunte por quê, tá? Mas ele acha que era um parente próximo da cannabis. E de repente a gente poderia ficar rico vendendo velame, que é legalizado. Mas era curiosidade de químico mesmo. Mas não pode. Hoje é tudo regulado. Você não pode sair com planta, você não pode sair com espécie animal. Antes era o samba, né? O samba meio maluco aí que todo mundo fazia o que queria. Aí veio caju, veio manga, veio jaca, né? E veio coco da Índia. Eu só sei disso porque eu tinha um professor indiano que me contava essas coisas, porque ele era farmacêutico, entendia tudo de botânica. Eu, de botas, entendo muito pouco. Okay, stadium. Stadium is here, but I decided to eliminate the exercise because stadium is a ready-made word, okay? It comes, in fact, it's not a suffix. Let me unhighlight it. Stadium, I searched for that, and it's a free morpheme, okay? And it means a measure. Sabiam dessa? Um estádio era uma medida dos gregos. Assim como um quilômetro, uma milha, era uma unidade de medida espacial, tá? Então, stadium fica fora. Eu pensei em stadium, mas depois, vendo aqui direitinho, ele é uma palavra pronta, não tem sufixo aqui, tá? Então, tira o stadium fora, ele nem é item. Com isso, just a moment. Com isso, a gente vai para carcinoma. Do you know other words ending in oma? Those problems that we have in the eyes,
Glaucoma.
glaucoma. Do you know other words? Let me see.
I I I thought Obama, but
Obama, no, it's Nama.
there's nothing.
Let me see. I have a list here from Medical Discourse. Glioblastoma, mesothelioma, osteosarcoma, fibrosarcoma. Well, let's search for these words in the dictionary and we'll find something in common. I don't know if these words will be in the dictionary. Glioblastoma, it's still not in the dictionary. Well, but carcinoma is. Carcinoma is a cancerous growth that forms on or inside the body. Now let me see osteosarcoma or just sarcoma. Type of cancerous lump in the bones, muscles, or joints. So what does oma mean? Cancer or cancerous tumor. What is wrong with this word cancerous? It's because it's in Portuguese. Cancerous tumor, okay? A group of cancerous cells could be everything that ends in oma means the disease of cancer, okay? Carcinoma, osteo. I just know this because I searched, okay, in the list of diseases related to cancer. Fibroadenoma, angiosarcoma, endothelioma, neurofibroma. Each one of them is a type of tumor, a type of cancer, okay? So sometimes it's a matter of looking for similar words. And to finalize this exercise, the suffix "eyes", which in British English is eyes with S instead of Z. But anyway, what does finalize mean? This is very intuitive.
I put in that to do or to make something. In the case of finalize, it's to end something or to final something.
That's it. To make it to make it final, to make it definite, to make it to put an end in something, yeah. To analyze it. It's not to make it anal, please. Okay, analyze is to make it analytical. Okay, to summarize is to make it brief, to make it a summary.
Organize
To
too.
organize is to make it as an organ. I mean, organ by organ, understand a system. Okay, to make it systematic. To
It
make
can also that it would be correct if I put the to x something like to root the
yeah,
root
yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah. To make to yes, to X something, to final something, to organize something, to for example, industrialize, to make it industrial. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, like you can use the X formula. Okay. Now in number 3, it's almost the same, but it's with the prefixes. It's about the prefixes. Okay, we have prefixes here that are used, and we have to decide if they give us an idea of space, time, or intensity. Okay, so first task is to find the prefix. The second one is to determine if it's spatial, temporal, or intensive. Okay, like for example, abduct. Where's the prefix? Think of other words that start with ab. This way, the prefixes make it easier for us to search the dictionary. Ab. We have absent, abandon, abdicate, abdication, abdomen. What does ab mean? Duct. What does duct mean? Duct is like a way, yeah, a duct. Water duct, it's what you have inside your walls to conduct water. What does it mean to conduct? And what is the difference between conduct and abduct? Se o ET descer hoje conduzir vocês até a nave, vocês foram por livre e espontânea vontade ou foram raptados?
Por livre e espontânea vontade.
e abduct. Vocês foram abduzidos. E aí?
Seria contra a vontade. Eu acho que no latim, ab é como se fosse eu acho que é uma preposição que faz justamente essa negação. É uma coisa assim. Não tenho certeza, que eu nunca fui uma excelente aluna de latim.
Hum.
Mas tem isso aí do
É uma preposição que, se eu não me engano, rege apenas o ablativo, o acusativo.
Significado de ab em latim. Let's Google it. Ab, preposição. Peraí. Ai, meu Deus, tá muito pequenininho. Português, universal. Não, não. Tá difícil aqui, peraí. Desde o ab, desde a origem, desde o princípio, ab início, não.
A gente tem um material aqui, eu posso procurar e você pode seguir, eu coloco aqui no.
Ah, seria bom. Mas ab tem essa ideia de ser meio que uma coisa involuntária, né? Abduct, ok? So, for us, what is important is not the meaning, but if it's spatially, temporally or intensively. No caso de abduct, ele dá mais a ideia de espaço, de tempo ou de intensidade? A forma como a coisa é feita. Abdicar. Absolver. Absorb in English. Like when you absorb water from a place.
Professor, no caso, você está falando que esse ab seria no sentido de ser algo involuntário, né? Porque no caso, absorver, você não escolhe aquilo entrar, né? Então seria uma coisa que você não decide.
Então, é espacial, temporal ou intensidade?
Espacial, eu diria.
Space. I'd say duct is spatial. Duct is away. Yeah. But how about ab? O nível de querer, o nível de vontade, ele é sempre uma intensidade. O nível de espontaneidade de algo é intensidade, tá, gente? A gente está acostumado à intensidade quando a gente pensa na hipérbole, né? No muito ou no pouco. Mas tem os graus de voluntariedade, né? Nesse caso é intensidade, ok? Let's put I for intensity. And ab is the prefix. Now, preamble. This is easy. What is a preamble? Quando vocês forem escrever o TCC de vocês, vocês vão ter que fazer os preâmbulos do TCC. O que são os preâmbulos?
Algo que vem antes.
Isso. E se é o que vem antes, é spatial, temporal or intensive.
Temporal.
Tem uma controvérsia. Tanto pode ser temporal, quanto pode ser spatial.
Mas acho que nesse caso aí ele é temporal.
Isso, no caso de preamble, sim. É o que você faz antes, então está relacionado não a um elemento físico, a um objeto físico, está relacionado a uma sequência de ações. E ações não são necessariamente algo físico. Resultam em algo físico, mas não são. So, in this case, it's temporal. Pre. What comes before? How about intervene? Where is the prefix? You have inter. Yes, you have two people fighting or discussing, and then you make an intervention. What does it mean?
You enter in their fight to prevent it, to stop it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you enter in, is it spatial, temporal, or intensively?
Spatial.
You are in between two people, okay? In a discussion, in a fight, or whatever, or you intervene in a company, Okay, so you enter the company to determine the direction. Now, how about condemn? Where is the prefix?
Come.
Cool.
Is it con, as in construct? And in this case, is it spatial, temporal, or intensively? Condemn. Construct. Construct is like con. Remember con from congregation? Congreg. It's like get together, yeah? How about condemn? What do you think? What can we just disconsider here? If you had to disconsider one of the possibilities, would you disconsider space, time, or intensity?
I think I would consider time.
Time, yeah? Now, what does condemn mean when you are considered guilty? Considering someone guilty is an act of space or of intensity? Is it a matter of physical space or of moral intensity?
Moral intensity.
Yes. Condemn is an intensive act. Okay, you can condemn or you can absolve. Absolve. I think it's absorbed. Absorb. Remember now. It's absolve. Absolve. Well, secede. You have probably heard about the War of Secession. What is the meaning of secede?
It means to go after some. No, not go after someone, but to succeed. No, no, not succeed too. I
It's
can't
not
think.
succeed.
No, no, no,
Secede from
no, no,
the
and not succeed, not succeed.
not succeed. Secede from the Cambridge Dictionary means to become independent of a country or area of government. We seceded from Portugal. In the United States, we had the War of Secession, which mean which meant that some states wanted to be independent. So secede means to make some unity into smaller units. What do we call
Separate.
smaller?
So,
To, s-
so it's a
to,
separate.
to separate, to make it into sections. Sec. Sec is the prefix. Okay? Sec from section. Okay? From division. Now, section. Sec is spatial, temporal, or intensive?
Space, spatial.
Yeah, spatial. We're talking about states, countries. Okay, so local areas. Now, declare. What is the prefix for you? What do you think is the prefix?
It's D, I guess.
D. Can you think of other words starting with D?
Degree.
D. Let's
Debate.
try with D. We have declamation, declamatory, declarant, declaration. You said degree. What does D mean? Deorganize. What does declare mean? Declare maybe is to say something. Yeah. What does D mean?
Maybe it could be to reinforce that
To
that
reinforce. If it's
yeah.
to reinforce, like I declare that, I affirm that this is the truth.
This way. Yeah.
Yeah. So would it be spatial, temporal, or intense?
Spatial. No. Stay intense. Sorry,
Intensity.
intense.
Yeah. Intensity. About invade, where is the prefix? When somebody invades your house,
It's in the prefix.
he or she gets in. Yeah,
That's in.
the preposition in. Now, this is easy. Prepositions always indicate positions. So they are what? Intense, temporal, spatial,
Space. I
preposition.
said space,
Yeah,
space,
yeah.
spatial.
Prepositions are always space. Yeah. How about
That's high.
hyperactive?
That's high.
What is the prefix in hyperactive? Hyperbolic, hyperactive, hypermetropia, which is a kind of visual disorder. The prefix is hyper, isn't it? What do you think of hyper? Is it spatial, temporal, or intense? Intensity.
Intense.
Yeah, intensity. It's how active you are. More active, less active, hyperactive, super active. How about diachronic? We know the word chronic, that it's like time. Now, what does dia say? When Saussure studied language, he said that he would consider the synchronic and the diachronic nature of language. What does dia mean? Please don't say dia as in diarrhea, okay? There's nothing to do with diarrhea. Diachronic, dialogical, dialectic. What does dia mean? What is a
I don't.
dialectical thinking? Sorry?
I don't know what dia means, but according to this notion of diachronic and synchronic, I would say it's temporally.
Temporally. Synchronic for sure is temporally. How about diachronic? Is it really temporally or socially? Saussure dividiu a língua em aspectos sincrônicos, que são aqueles que acontecem de modo sincronizado na sociedade, num certo tempo, e diacrônico. O que era a noção de mudança diacrônica da linguagem? A linguagem muda no eixo diacrônico. Sincros significa tempo. E dia, pensa em dialético. O que é o pensamento dialético? Ou dialógico? Bakhtin vai falar do aspecto dialógico da linguagem.
The deer that I'm seeing here, it comes from the ancient Greek, and it means through, across, by something.
Ah, good. Across, by. Para ter diálogo, precisa ter o quê? Qual é o oposto de diálogo?
Some kind of logic
Ok.
to
Por isso, logos, dialogue, log. Mas e a parte do dia? Vamos ver
Professor, No caso, esse de não seria quando eu tenho duas coisas ao mesmo tempo, porque
Very good.
diacrônico é duas coisas que acontecem ao mesmo tempo. Diálogo, duas pessoas que conversam ao mesmo tempo.
No mínimo duas, né? The opposite of dialogue is a monologue. Dia, mono. Monosyllabic. Disyllabic, two syllables. Yeah. Another example, dialectical thinking. You have the affirmative thinking, the negative thinking. So you have to produce a synthesis. This is what we call dialectics, like affirming, denying, and producing synthesis out of these two sides of the argument. So is it spatial, temporal, or intensive?
Intensive.
Sure. Isn't it spatial? Dia. É que vocês estão pensando em espacial como só espaço físico, né? Diálogo. Diálogo, como ela falou, precisa de um falante, de um ouvinte, que depois vai virar falante, que o outro que depois vira ouvinte. Isso é uma troca. Por onde acontece essa troca? Modelo linguístico de Jacobson. Essa troca de códigos acontece por meio de um canal, lembra? Esse canal é visível? Qual é o canal da linguagem? Aqui a gente está usando o canal, por exemplo, o canal conexão de internet, mas qual é o canal mais natural da linguagem? Não é a propagação das ondas sonoras pelo ar? Você não vê, né? Teoricamente não é um espaço, mas é um espaço, né? É um espaço não material, né? Dialogue is, or something that is diachronic, is spatial. A língua não varia no espaço, diacronicamente. Ela varia sincronicamente, ela varia no tempo, e ela também varia entre as diferentes sociedades, de maneira diacrônica. Is it okay for you? Dia as spatial? Ou vocês ainda querem pensar um pouquinho mais? Não é assim que a língua varia, espacial e temporalmente? Ou não?
Sim.
Quando ela varia espacialmente, ela varia no eixo sincrônico ou diacrônico?
Você pode repetir, por favor?
Quando a língua varia espacialmente, português, espanhol, inglês, árabe, ela varia no eixo sincrônico ou diacrônico?
Eu acho que é sincrônico.
No eixo sincrônico, porque nós estamos em sincronia, né? Nós estamos no mesmo tempo. Então, ela varia no espaço, né? Nós temos diferentes espaços, mas em termos de tempo nós estamos sincronizados. Então, sincro refere a tempo. E dia, né? Quando a língua varia no eixo diacrônico, é porque o tempo mudou e aquele mesmo espaço, aquela mesma comunidade passou a falar uma língua levemente diferente. Não foi o espaço que mudou, né? Mas naquele mesmo espaço, naquele mesmo DAIA, naquela mesma comunidade, entendendo por comunidade dois ou mais, entre dois ou mais indivíduos, o mesmo diálogo se dá numa forma linguística distinta. Então, DAIA se refere a espaço. Estão convencidos disso ou confuso ainda? É porque vocês pensam assim, sincro, tempo. Dia, diálogo. Dois. Dois é número, né? O conceito de noção numérica, ele está muito ligado à ideia da existência material, da espacialidade, ok? Se não, a gente pode discutir depois também, se vocês quiserem contestar. Faltam 10 minutos. Vamos terminar isso aqui. Extend. Está fácil. Extend. Onde está o prefixo?
X.
X. Ex significa o quê? Tanto aqui, quanto no inglês, quanto em outras línguas. Extension. I do not have enough space, so I need to extend my house. Or I need an extension to plug the projector. O que é um
You
extension?
add
Extend.
something.
To add, to make it bigger. Yeah. Let's
Increase.
extend your knowledge on morphology.
To get some extra expense.
Extra. Or he is in the external part of the house. So it means the place where he or she is. Is it spatial, temporal, or intensive? Or it depends. Let's extend your knowledge of morphology. Esse extend é um extend físico ou é um extend de intensidade? When you extend your knowledge. Let's not extend this tiresome discussion. É espaço ou é intensidade? Eu não quero estender essa discussão. E aí?
I think there will be space, but maybe change in another word.
Vai depender do contexto. Como eu sempre digo para vocês, não dá para fazer morfologia sem ver a frase numa aplicação, tá? Extend pode ser físico, space, né? Quando eu falo, por exemplo, I need to extend my living room. Né? Então eu vou expandir aquilo, eu vou expandir a minha sala de estar. É físico, é claramente físico. Quando eu digo I don't want to extend the topic, eu não quero estender o debate, o tópico, não quero estender esse assunto. É o quê? É físico? Não vamos estender essa discussão. É temporal e é também,
temporal, né?
quando a discussão se estende muito, ela fica mais intensa.
É extenso.
Mais extensa, porque ela demora mais, ela é temporal, e ela fica mais intensa, ela fica mais nervosa, ela fica mais irresoluta.
Pode não ser aumentar ainda mais.
Você aumenta a tensão, e se tem tensão,
Não, não é isso muito, a discussão é. Mas a discussão não é uma coisa assim.
saca? X pode ser as três coisas, vai depender do contexto de aparição na frase. É isso que eu quero dizer, tá? Então, nem sempre esses prefixos aqui determinam. O caso de X é indeterminado, vai depender do contexto. Ele é espacial, ele pode ser temporal. Você está jogando videogamezinho lá, tá acabando o tempo do seu carrinho, você tem que chegar no checkpoint, né? Quando você passa lá, um locutor grita time extension. E aí? Time extension é uma extensão de tempo. Junta dois conceitos de espaço e de tempo. É aumentar o tempo, né? É acrescentar tempo. Né? E postpone. How about postpone? Where is the prefix? Post. Is it time, intensity, or space? In this case of
Space.
postpone, time, intensity, or space. Let's postpone our class. It means the class won't be next week. It will be the next week after the next. So it's time. In the case of postpone, it's time. Okay. But let's think of the post. Let me see. Don't think post office. No, please. Okay. It's something different. Post graduation. Is it intensity, time, or space? What do you think? Post-graduation. Time, intensity, or space? It's something that you
Time.
do after graduation, so it's time, okay? Uh, how about postmodern? Postmodern theory, it's also time, okay? But there might be something that is post, uh, I can't recall now, post as a space notion. I don't think there is a word with space notion. I think it's just time. Prognosis. We have worked with this word, working with the suffix. Now let's work with the prefix. Prog. What does prog mean? Or pro. Prognosis. Gnosis is the root. Gnose. Gnose is like knowledge, yeah, of something. How about pro? What is a pronoun? What is a proverb?
Now is something that it's no. I don't know if I could say antecedes no, but
Comes
don't know this
before.
word in English.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
before.
come before now.
Prognosis. It's something that comes before you know something. So it's a kind of knowledge that you have before. Space, time, or intensity?
Time.
Time. Very good.
Time.
Okay, exercise number 4. We have to finish the class, I know, but just to let you know what it's all about. So using the morphemes from set 1 here, okay, and here, the previous exercise, using those morphemes, analyze the words as follows. So we are going to parse the words into morphemes like inter, in between, sect, a piece of, yan, is the name of the process or the name of the object. So what is an intersection? It's a cut in the middle of something. Yeah. Microbiology. So you're going to give the literal meaning for these words based on your morphological analysis. Okay. I think that next class we will finish this in like 10 minutes and start how words are composed. Okay, so I'll put an extra class for you, a recorded one, in which this is solved. Okay, so that you can watch it. And next class, by next class, we can focus on the word formation process. Okay, so number 4, I'll put it available in a video from the previous semester, if you don't mind. Would it be okay for you if we discuss that in a video? Just to gain some time?
Yeah.
Ok. Tá bom então, gente. Eu sei que é cansativo resolver esses exercícios, mas é a maneira mais efetiva de vocês identificarem esses morfemas, tá? Uma boa notícia, estamos quase terminando morfologia. Vamos entrar para a parte de sintaxe, que é um pouquinho mais difícil. Tá bom? Mas
Me consolou muito, professor. Muito obrigada.
alegria, alegria. Faça como eu, sorria. Vamos embora.
A gente tenta, a gente tenta.
Bom fim de semana para quem já vai começar o fim de semana. Boa sexta-feira para quem ainda tem aula, tá? E a gente se vê na terça, tá bom? Eu vou tentar gravar um vídeo com a solução do 4 e já deixar um material para vocês irem se familiarizando com o processo de formação de palavras, tá bom?
Professor,
Sim,
eu gostaria de solicitar a gravação da última aula que eu perdi.
tá no Siga, tá na seção de vídeos do Siga
sim.
já, tá?
Eu pensei que você enviava.
Não, já tá lá já, tá?
Tá
Essa
bom,
daqui, por exemplo, talvez vá amanhã para o Siga, porque o que acontece? Demora para processar o vídeo. Ele tá gravando aqui, aí depois o Google vai processar o vídeo para poder disponibilizar o link para mim. Aí nem sempre dá, porque eu entro em outra aula, agorinha, né? Mas assim que tiver disponível, eu já coloco o link lá no Siga, tá? Na seção vídeos. Certo, gente? Mais alguém? Alguma dúvida sobre hoje?
Professor, em relação à avaliação, qual vai ser a nossa